Okay, we're going to have a quick look now at publishing posts and pages on WordPress. I'll generate press, which is the theme I've got here, but basically it's the same for any theme. So we've got posts over here and we've got pages down here. Now, before we start, just very quickly, what's the difference between posts and pages? Well, it's really up to you, to decide which you want to use. You may want to only use pages, you may only want to use posts, but basically sort of three main differences are that posts are timely and pages are timeless, which means that when you publish posts, they are sequentially in date order. So for instance, it's very good use if you have something like a news blog or the latest of on something blog, and then all your latest posts will be sorted to the top. If you have if you display it by latest posts, or if you display your homepage as your sort of posts role, then all the latest stuff will be on the top. Where with pages, not really timely, it's just something that is published and then wherever you want it sort of linked on your site. So the next thing is that posts have categories and tags, where pages, if I click on pages, they don't have categories and tags. So what this means is that you can divide your posts in topical hierarchies or silos, and you can work around topical clusters, and it's just easier to organize it that way. And also you can set up a page showing only posts with certain categories on them. So you can play around that way with them, where pages, they don't have these categories and tags. So the last thing I just wanted to mention, the main difference, is that with posts, you can see here you've got an author and a date, time, and author, and where with pages is, again, you don't have that kind of thing. So what I tend to do, and with this blog, as you can see, I've already sort of gone ahead and I've published one post with some scheduled posts over there, and I have some pages as well. So the main difference, or what I use posts and pages for, are posts purely for content publishing. So if I, any articles or pieces of content that I want to get out there and publish, then I use posts. Where pages are more sort of static, evergreen, long-term stuff, like my privacy policy. I don't have many pages here, as you can see, but things like privacy policy, and here you can see I've got a latest post page. Now on this page, if I just click in there, you'll see that I've put a block in there which calls up all the latest posts. So this is like one of those sort of loop queries that you get on Generate Press. So with that, let's have a quick look through these two items. So first, posts. Now, as I said, I've already got a few things live here. Now, if you start with a brand new site, you may see some example posts over here. So what you could do with those is you can just sort of tick the boxes of those posts that comes with the installation, and you can apply a bulk action, move to trash, and apply. So that will just move these posts into the bin, or you can just literally hover over it and just trash it there. Okay, so once you've got a clean slate, you can now start posting. So the way you do that is just say add new, and then it'll open up and it'll ask you to add a title, and start typing up your content. Now, just to a couple of things to note is, when you write your posts, make sure that you use H1 header tags, H2 header tags, and maybe H3 header tags, and also body text. because this is really important for your search engine optimization for Google and other search engines. When it crawls your website or your blog, then it sort of looks at the header tags as well, just to sort of try and make sense what's going on within your article or your post, and it's sort of seeking out, you know, which are the more important headers, and you know, which parts are describing a piece of content, and so on. So this is what I always do. Now your post will automatically default when you add your title here. It defaults to a H1 tag. Okay, so that's fine, and then you know, you just have to worry about the rest. So let's just go to one of the posts that I have that I've already got in here. So this is just a really basic one that I've got in here. Again, you know, this site is really just for demonstration purposes, really. So I've got my title tag as types of dog training, so that would be my automatic H1 or header 1 title. And then I've just got a short description underneath there, and you can see there that that's another block that's in there, and I can state whether this block is a paragraph, or you know, I can set the block style. Now this video is not really sort of walking through the functionality of GeneratePress. I just want to sort of show the outline of posts and pages and what you need to look out for. Now you can see here that I've got another header here. Now at the moment that doesn't look like a header to me, so let's click on our paragraph, but I've got Grammarly installed, so let me just drag that away. So let's have a look at what this is. Okay, so heading. See, I now turned it into a H2 heading, which it should really be. It wasn't. So let's do that. So we've got types of dog training as our H1 header. Our title automatically defaults to header 1. We've got a bit of text there, and then we start sort of listing, you know, the types of training. Now I notice also that I've got, you know, this is not in bold, but this over here is in bold. So I'm just going to, so just for the purposes of consistency, I'm just going to unbold this and keep it an H2 tag. Now this is just a normal paragraph, and then we come here to this block over here. So I'm just going to set that to H2, and I'm going to unbold it. There we go. And then I just do that with the rest of it. So I'm not going to bore you by going through the whole thing. The other thing I just want to show you is, if you say, for instance, you sort of at the end of a line there, you can just hit enter and it'll start a new block for you. Now these blocks, now this is sort of GeneratePress. Other themes may have other nuances of what they do, but specifically for GeneratePress, which again I think is the ideal theme for blogs, because it's a really lightweight theme. It's really quick and it's really simple to use. So I love it. So you can see if I expand a plus here, I've got different kinds of things that I can put in here. I can put in a header, I can put in an image, gallery list, and so on. I can browse all. So now it opens up a whole raft of things that I can put. So you see, you can do some neat formatting there. Just for instance, I can, so if I want to turn this block into a quote, so let's say I have a quote or something that I want to draw the eye to, I can just say, right, make this a quote. And you can see there, so it's got this little gray bar over there. It's got the paragraph, which supposedly is a quote, and then a citation. So I can turn this into a list. So now it's turning it into a bullet list, or I can go, let's go back to paragraph. Okay. So, and that's it. I mean, that's the body of it. So also you can put in links. So if let's say I've got a page or a post about training sessions for dogs. So I can then highlight training sessions here. I can hit the link icon there, and I can just type in the post URL, which that then links to. So when somebody clicks on that, then it takes them to the training post and so on. it's fairly straightforward. I mean, this is enough really to get you going. Now, just on the right hand side here, you've got, if you go back to post, so this is just the overall sort of post details. You can see you've got a few things there. Now, unfortunately, my head's in the way there, but let's start at the top. So this is currently what the visibility is of your post. So at the moment it's public, it's published, and so on. Now you can also choose to schedule posts, which I've done with. You'll see when you look through the list of posts that I have, most of them are scheduled for future dates. So I basically sit down over a weekend with my blogs or my sites, and then I just batch content, and I schedule content for 7 days ahead. So for 2 or 3 blogs or sites, what I may do is just put the content together. This is already pre-written content, and then what I do is I just sort of put it onto the post page here, as you see here. And then what I do is I just schedule it. So if I click here, you see you can schedule it for future dates. So you see on the calendar that I've got up here, you see those little blue dots. So those are all dates for which posts are scheduled. And then next Thursday, I'll sit down again and I'll batch another bunch. So, you know, it's good just for search indexing purposes, and also to keep your site going. It's always good to have, you know, rather than, if you have say 20 articles, rather than publishing all 20, you know, on the same day, you know, because you're keen to get your site going, what I would say is, yeah, maybe publish 3 or so straight away, so that there's something on your site. So, you know, when the search engines are starting to crawl your site, they kind of get an idea what your blog is about or your site is about. But then try to schedule posts over time, so at least one each day or one every couple of days, so that the search engines and the crawlers can get used to your site being updated frequently. So it's going to come back and visit and come back and visit, and so it's going to start indexing your site as well. Okay, so what else I've got? I've got post format standard. I just keep that standard because that is the way that I've set it up. In the other video, when we set up the site settings and the basic customization of the theme, you know, it's just the standard. So I'll just keep it like that, and then my fonts and everything, colors will be automatic, and the layout. And then the author, if you have multiple authors or multiple people writing for your blog, you can drop down here and you can look for your author. I still need to change this author's name. It's sort of the admin login at the moment. And then permalink categories. So you can put in categories. So you can see here, I've got types of dog training as the category, but you can also start, you know, you can also keep adding new categories. Try to have as little amount of categories as you can get away with, and try to sort of logically put your posts into those categories, that, you know, just as long as it makes sense. And tags, so you can add tags as well. Now, tags, yeah, it's okay. I've got a tag in there, but I've recently decided to stop worrying about tags, because I've noticed on Google Search Console, so in a later video I'll explain the plugins that I use for my blog, sort of the standard set of plugins, and one of those plugins are Google Sitekit. And with that comes Google Analytics, you know, to see how many visitors you get to your site, and some statistics about visitations to your site and so on. But you get also Google Search Console access. So you can then see how many impressions your site had, and, you know, which pages are indexed with Google, so when it's indexed, it just means that it's ready to be displayed on, you know, Google's search results. if your page, if your site or some pages or posts are not indexed, it means it can't show up on search results. So therefore, what you want to do is you want to go into Google Search Console, make sure that your pages are indexed. Anyway, so what I've noticed was with tags, Google doesn't seem to want to index sort of the tags, because this types of dog training, this tag, for instance, will come in at the end of, so if you look at my URL here, www.doggoinfo.com, so that tag will appear as / types of dog training / and then, you know, all the articles or posts that is associated with that tag. And I noticed that Google doesn't really index tags, because it rather index the articles or the posts. So I don't really see a need for this. I'm going to stop adding tags, and I'm just going to stick to categories, because categories is still useful, because that gives Google an idea of how your site is structured and what kind of topics you're covering on your site. Where tags is just something Google can just pick it up from your site, you know, the words and stuff that your articles are about. Okay, so and also the other thing with categories is that you can build a page, and on that page you can then list, you know, all your categories for your blog. So people can just click on a categories page, and then they see links to all the different categories. They click on a category and all the posts come up for that category. And then what else do we have? We have a featured image. So it's, you know, it's always nice to have featured images on your posts. So and then, you know, of course you have to, when you upload the images, just make sure that you've got keywords or what the article or the post is about. You have those words uploaded with the title of the image or the alt text of the image. The other thing, if I can just get out of the way, excerpt, oh no, I don't have to, I can scroll up. Excerpt is just, you know, what this page is about. So I'm just going to copy and paste this first bit that I've got here. I see I haven't put an excerpt in. It's technically it's not really needed to put an excerpt in, but what I've noticed is, especially with a new site, when your pages or your posts start getting indexed, then this page will show up, but you know, Google is still trying to find, you know, the wording to put as an excerpt while it's figuring out what your site is about or your page is about. So what I do now is, for each post I just put an excerpt in there, so that automatically, as soon as it comes up on the search results, that piece of text shows up underneath the title of the search result, or title of the post. But as Google gets more familiar with your site, it will start pulling, you know, excerpts from your post, whatever is sort of most applicable to what the person searched for. Okay, so let's look at discussion. Now, I've made a decision not to allow comments. So I've got a general setting on my WordPress settings to disallow comments, because for a bunch of reasons, mostly spam. So I'm not allowing comments. If you tick that box, then comments will be allowed on this particular post. Yeah, and the rest is just it's not really. I don't mess with the rest. And then what you could do is you could preview your post here. So say I'm in the process of writing it. I've put the image, the featured image on there, and so on. So before I publish it, I just want to have a quick look at what it looks like. So I just hit preview a new tab, and there it shows me what it looks like. So okay, so that's what it looks like. And by the way, if you have a keen eye and you've been following the blog building series of videos, you'll notice that I've changed my logo. I couldn't resist going back into Canva and just, mocking up a different or better logo. I think it's better than the previous one, but yeah. So yeah, just keeping it very basic at the moment. So that's my preview. So I can just close this and go back. And you can also have a mobile preview and it'll just look like this. So I don't know why the mobile preview, let me just look, it doesn't show the image there. Yeah, that's a bit odd. So usually it would show the image as well, because on a mobile, obviously the image is shown as well. Trust me, I've checked this on my actual mobile phone. I know depending on the theme that you have and the site builder that you have, it would show the image. And same with tablet, it doesn't seem to show. Okay. So even if I hit preview, it does show it, but then it sort of goes into, I don't know. Anyway, what I do is I literally sit with my phone next to me, and when I want to see what it looks like on a phone, I've got two phones. I've got a iPhone, and I've got a Android phone. So I've got these two phones. So it looks like my green screen technology is sort of, it's probably the reflection. Need to sort my green screen out. Looks like this side, my chin's sort of getting a bit of green screen flaking there as well. Okay, so let's go back to desktop preview. There we go. So that's it. I'm not going to spend more time on posts, and then I can just update it. Just hit update and it'll update whatever changes you've made. So I've updated the excerpt, so I just wanted to make sure that that's also taken into account now. So let's go back to our, these are posts. So you can see here I've got some scheduled for the future. Well, a post a day until next Thursday. So it'll just carry on in the background and it'll publish at these times and dates. So, I'm happy with that. So let's have a look at pages. So I've got, I'll show you the privacy policy page. So I haven't set up, this looks like the default. Yeah, so WordPress comes with a default privacy policy page, or not a default, a suggested privacy policy page. Now, I've had a look through this and it's all, it's nice and short, but I know that, so I'm not running any ads on it. I don't have any affiliate links on it because it's a brand new site. It's got zero traffic at the moment. I don't do any ads or affiliate links or nothing like that. The only thing that I have is Google Analytics, or I don't have it yet, but I'm going to install it soon. Google Analytics. So this site actually is, even from the beginning, it's going to track users by using cookies and things like that, for analytics purposes. So I can, as a website manager, as a manager of this site, so that I can see what my site visits are like and how my site is growing, hopefully, and so on. So, and it is kind of, it is now sort of mandatory, really, to have that in your privacy policy, to mention the fact that you are using analytics and you are tracking people by the use of cookies and so on. And that's why you have to have the cookie opt-in or opt-out pop-up as well. Not pop-up, let's call it a plugin. So You know, the cookie thing, the cookie bar that comes up on websites. So that's why we have that. And also, when you actually install the Google Analytics or the Google Site Kit with Analytics, it is actually buried deep in, not so deep, but it is buried in Google's terms and conditions that you must have it specifically mentioned in your privacy policy that you are using Google Analytics. So what I'm going to do is I've got something that I prepared earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get rid of this and just copy and paste what I have over here. So, you know, when you do privacy policies or any sort of legal stuff, you don't really have to worry about headers, you know, putting H1 and H2 tags and so on, because you don't really care if people's not going to search for your policies really. So I'm just going to leave it like this with these headings bold. So I've prepared this earlier, and you can see if I go, so it's got something about contact forms because I'm planning on putting a contact form on this blog. And or advertising, I just noticed that we currently don't have advertising. I might put some advertising on the site later on when it start getting, I don't know, maybe 1,000 views a day or something like that, then it becomes worthwhile. If it does. If it doesn't, then it's just the site sitting there. Embedded content from other websites. So, you know, if there are videos and stuff like that. So here's analytics. So I'm just specifically mentioning analytics and Google Analytics. So just to make sure that that is in there. And I should also have contact. What happened to my contact links? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say here, so what I don't like to do is put email addresses in my privacy policy page, because if you put, so say where I say here, we can be contacted through the contact form on this site, and you can see a contact form. If I hover over it, it is a link. So and if I click on it, you can see, okay, so that's from one of my other sites that I have. So what I'll do here is I'll just do doggoinfo.com, and then I just need to go and set up a page, a contact page with a contact form. I don't like putting email addresses, so the actual contact at, so you know, when you do contact at doggoinfo, like this, because what's going to happen then is you're going to get insane amounts of spam to this email address, because it's scrapable. Yeah. So again, you know, bots and stuff that crawl your site for email addresses and, you know, personal information or whatever they do, they will scrape these email addresses that you put on your site and telephone numbers and things like that, and it'll then log it into a database, and it'll then start, you know, you'll then start receiving spam like there's no tomorrow. So I don't put phone numbers and email addresses out on any of the pages. If I want to put phone numbers out there, I will do it maybe as an image, because then it's less likely to you know, for these crawlers to pick that up in that way. So a crawler can then go to my contact form, which is on the site, but then what I do is I protect the contact form with captcha, or reCAPTCHA, so that then eliminates any, or you know, it narrows down spam significantly. Anyway, so that's that. So that's a page. That's a privacy policy page. I'm just going to keep it like that. And again, you know, you have a few things you can do here. I'm not bothered with images for privacy policy. I'm not going to do that. So you can see here by default, no comments allowed. So this is just the privacy policy page. So I'm just going to keep that there. So yeah, you can just put the page up like this. It works the same as with the posts. You can, you know, put different paragraphs in there. The other thing I wanted to mention was you can actually, just want to show you quickly, you can even put tables in. So table, so you see here, you can put a table in, and then you can format it so that, you know, it's sort of one row is white and gray, white, gray, white, gray, and so on. So yeah, I mean, there are a whole bunch of videos on YouTube about generate press and how to use it. So it's quite nice. Okay, and that's it. So let me just publish that. So it's now live, it's now published. And if I go back, then that is my privacy policy. So let me just have a look at my site now. Do I have my privacy? No. So I need to still put my privacy policy, my pages in the, I don't include my privacy policy in the main menu because it's not something, it's, you know, who wants to go and specifically look at your, browse through your privacy policy. People come to this site because they want to know stuff about dogs, not privacy policies, I guess. So if I go to dashboard, and I didn't want to do it for this video, so you know, see, I just wanted to show about posts and pages. So, you know, if you don't want to, that's okay. You can quit this video now. But I just want to show how typically I would include my privacy policy now in the footer of my website. So quickly, what I do is I go to my themes customization, like I did in the previous video, customizing the site over here. And then what I have is widgets. So I've got widgets and footer bar. Now the footer bar is this bit you see down here where it says Doggo info built with generate press. And by the way, I've got a piece of PHP script which will remove that bit there. So it just says Doggo info. But, you know, again, it's personal preference. So if I click on footer bar, go away. So I'm going to add a block, and I'm going to call this blog page. So it's going to add the page list in there. Let's have a look. So, let me just, there, it's over there behind me. So it's got latest post and privacy. But let's just so yeah, latest post and privacy, and then it's got a blank page. But that blank page is just because I was playing around with a homepage setup. But yeah, so that's how you do the footer bar, and then you can just put it in there. So I'm going to leave that like that. I can go clean it up later. It's not nice at the minute, but so let me just look at the site now. So you can see there. So it's got latest post and privacy policy. So if somebody specifically want to go and look for your privacy policy, you know, it's pretty sort of standard convention for these things to be at the bottom. So they can just scroll down. They can have a look at the privacy policy there and latest posts. So you know, just another little menu that people can go through. So that's really it. Any questions, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer.